Hello there everyone, welcome to yet another video on COD wins. Call of Duty Warzone is not an easy game, especially considering the amount of competition the game has received. All the players trying their butts off. You will need to use all the tricks up your sleeves to get ahead, and for that, here is a list of 5 secret settings for controller players, so tag along and level up with us. Of course, before we begin, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so that you don't miss out on anything. Alrighty, now let's get into it. Okay, so I think I need to stress this before really getting into the topic, but when it comes to Call of Duty Warzone or any other similar game, momentum and your agility matter a lot. Basically, most of these secret controller settings are meant to increase your gaming speed and response time. So therefore, before getting into how these controller settings are more comfortable for you, we do have a comparison about what makes you quicker in the game itself. Speaking of keeping momentum, there is a contextual tap option that could do wonders if turned on. Normally, in order to pick up any weapon that you find, you would need to use the square button on PS4 and the X button on Xbox. Now, if you go to settings in your menu, you would see an option about your weapons. Try changing the use reload behavior setting over to the contextual tap setting. This would not only make you much quicker, but this would allow you to also pick up weapons far more easily. Also, with this option, you can actually use contextual tap to enter vehicles. This would make it much quicker, and if you ever find yourself in a situation where you need to flee from a place, this setting can save you precious seconds when it comes to doing an action. So for number 3, we have clearing view by film grain. Though I do call it clearing the view, the secret setting might end up doing the exact opposite of that. Look, the best way I can break this down is by saying basically the creators behind the game wanted it to feel cinematic and pictorial, so they had to add some layers of texture in places where it was needed. Especially when a player makes sudden movements. A slight delay is caused due to the film grain option. Now, since the film grain option is there to make your gaming look more visibly appealing, it directly has nothing to do with your actual gaming experience. All it does is cause a slight delay, and you can eliminate that by simply going to the settings and reducing the film grain to 0. The default setting is usually low, but taking it to 0 can just make it a bit quicker, which will only do you good in your performance. Obviously, aesthetically, things won't look as nice, the visuals won't be as clean or as cinematic, but if you're really looking at improving your performance in game, this is definitely a setting to look at. So continuing on with the pictorial and cinematic factors of the game, the next thing you should turn off is the world motion blur and the weapon motion blur. This is something that you really don't need, especially if you're just here to improve your performance. In a scenario where you wish to record how pretty the game looks, definitely have all these options turned back on. But when it comes to actually playing the games, having better visual effects does not help your performance at all. It doesn't help you improve, or it doesn't give you an advantage. I mean, when you look at some of the best players in this game, barely any one of them follows the default settings in this case, and thus if you wish to perform like a pro, you should neither. To turn them off, all you need to do is go to General and Accessibility and then turn off the world motion blur and weapon motion blur. I definitely recommend this one. It is just, it just helps. And at the very top of our list, one particular thing that you would notice about people who have just started playing games is that they would at least have one of their fingers glued to the joystick. And poor them, they obviously have no other option. If one wishes to run, they have to use the joystick. That's just how it works. Well, you see, that statement ain't entirely true. There is an option in Call of Duty Warzone where you can turn on the automatic sprint option instead of the manual option. To find it, all you have to do is go to controller settings and then go down to movement. The default option would be disabling it, but you should change that either to automatic tactile sprint or automatic sprint. Either of the two would do the job, and the difference between the two is frankly minimal. Personally, I've noticed some minute differences between these two different settings, the automatic tactile sprint and the automatic sprint. It's more about the feel of the game and nothing I can point out or mention, so I definitely recommend trying both and seeing what feels better to you. So those are some of our tips and tricks, guys, and I definitely recommend trying them all out. I mean, if you can get closer to playing like a pro, why settle for just playing like a regular player? Go and change your settings if you haven't changed them. Hopefully there were a lot of people who found this helpful, but for now, that brings us to the end of our video. If you guys did enjoy it, then let us know by liking the video, and you know what? If you feel like it, why not stick around for some more amazing content? Hopefully we'll be seeing you guys soon in another video, but until then, take care and goodbye.